My name is Rebecca Anderson. I'm a clinical psychologist, and if you've ever wondered why am I so addicted to other people's approval, you're in the right place. If I could go back and tell myself as a baby psychologist something, it would be that what most people do is driven by their desire to feel like they're loved, they're seen, and that they belong. And humans are incredibly clever because to get that need met, we develop various tools. And if you're watching this video, that tells me you probably have one of two tools up your sleeve. One of them is that you're very other focused. So that means that you won't verbalize your own preferences or your own opinions. You mold yourself to other people. And the other way is often you do the right thing. So you might be wearing the right clothing brands, buy the right car, do the right career, make sure that you always look right. And these are tools to try and get our original need met, which is to feel like we belong and that we're good enough. However, whenever we use a tool, there's a consequence for a tool. If you're watching this video, it's probably told me at some point that your approval seeking has been helpful to at least partially get the need of feeling like you belong met. You know, that if you're easy to get along with and people take you under their wing and you're very likable because you're easy. But the other side is that perhaps you're exhausted and you're tired and you feel like you're masking. The other thing is people are also quite clever. So if you're doing that for too long, people might sense that you're not being completely authentic or genuine, or that it's unusual that you don't really seem to have any firm opinions of your own. And so it's a flawed tool. But if you're struggling to fit in and this tool meets it 40% of the time, you're going to go for that, right? Compared to 0% of the time. What it tells me is that in your life, fitting in has been more important than really belonging. And it also tells me that you've probably grown up in an environment where you had some pretty dominant people around you, people who were maybe quite opinionated, or it was kind of like their way or the highway. And if you didn't mold to their view of the world, then you might have got in trouble or just been excluded. You might have just also been around people where there just wasn't that much attention. And this was a pretty clever tool to try and get some connection with people. Oh, if I pretend to like murder mysteries as well, like at least I'm included and I get to go to the dinner and I'm not alone sitting at home. The negative consequences of approval seeking in general are just feeling utterly exhausted and often feeling resentful, getting psychosomatic symptoms like headaches and stomach aches because you're so disconnected from your body and you're so focused on the external world to guide you. It's really tricky because when people come to see me and they've got an approval seeking mode, they've often tried to be themselves a little bit and then they've got shot down. And the lesson they've learned from that is I am not acceptable and I must not show any of myself because I will be rejected or excluded. But you've learned the wrong lesson. In a way, when you are in approval seeking mode, you're deceiving the people around you. And so when you become more of yourself, it's not who they signed up to know. They didn't know that you were like that. And so when you're more of yourself, they're allowed to maybe not like those elements of you. But if you're not yourself, then you'll never find the people who do really like you. You can't see that, oh, there wasn't really anything wrong with me. It was just that I was in the wrong place around the wrong people. The other thing is to think, who would like somebody who always agrees with them around? Now, don't get me wrong, we all like to have people who genuinely agree with us, but who's going to like it the most? People who are super entitled. People who probably aren't even noticing that you're just agreeing with them all the time because they think they're always right. People who don't want to really consider other people's needs. So you imagine then you start to be yourself around those people, they really don't like it. They might even call you selfish. And spoiler, if you're approval seeking, you have a much lower chance of being selfish compared to someone else. One of the biggest things I would say is you really need to watch for the shiny people. So often what I've noticed is people who have a strong approval seeking mode are doing it from a place of insecurity, and then they are attracted to people who look shiny on the outside. Maybe it's the really charismatic person, the confident person, the person who has the most money or is the most beautiful, the most clever, the most funny. And those things can be wonderful. I don't think we need to demonize those things. But what I want you to pay attention to is, how do I feel around this person? And if you start to feel hollow or empty, that is probably a sign that person is not for you. If you feel warm and re-energized after you see them, then go for it. They're probably just a charismatic and a warm person. But watch for the people that you're only around, even though your body is literally telling you, I don't feel good around these people. The first step is you really need to get in touch with what is my actual opinion on things. What do I actually think? What do I actually feel? Before you even ever have to say it to anyone else. If your friend says, do you want to go to Japanese or Italian? You might not feel brave enough to say, but just even in your head, if I was alone here and I had to make a choice, what would I pick right now? That is literally the first step. I have worked with a lot of approval seeking people and I know how hard it is to change, but it literally might be starting that you're out with drinks with friends and you might have wanted to go after the first drink and you normally just stay for as long as the night is because you just feel too worried to leave. It might just be when they say, do you want a third drink, saying yes, but then I'm going after that. Like just these small steps of articulating yourself or agreeing with them, you know, about murder mysteries being really fantastic, but also maybe adding in something about how you started to a bit of romance as well. You're not fully disagreeing, but you're starting to insert a little bit more of yourself. You might be asking somebody to meet halfway when you normally go to their area. There might be less over-explaining of things. If cancel on someone and send a paragraph this long, it might be this long to start with. The other aspect of healing this that I think makes the biggest difference is going to see a psychologist who does something with the body. So for example, EMDR or schema therapy, where they do what's called imagery rescripting, and looking specifically at why you people please, why you have an approval seeking mode, because there will be something underneath that. Maybe it's that you feel like you're not good enough. Maybe it's that you feel good enough, but you just think, I'm just different to other people, they won't get it. Maybe it's that you think, I don't really matter. If I don't matter, then why would people stick around? Maybe it's that people will leave if I'm more of myself. So that can be really helpful to work out what's the fear underneath, driving this defense coping mode. Approval seeking is a bit like armor. It's a way of protecting yourself from rejection. And so ultimately you want to heal that underneath, because then you won't need the coping mode as much. I hope this has been helpful. Let me know what part resonated, what part didn't, and I'll speak to you soon.